Right now, in your grocery store, there's chicken, beef, pork, turkey, fish. Shelves stacked with animals we've eaten for thousands of years. Now, here's the weird part. There's an animal living in almost every backyard in America. It's everywhere. It breeds like crazy. It's easy to catch, and it's completely free. And yet, you've never seen a possum at the store. Not once. Not in the meat aisle, not on a menu, not at a single restaurant you've ever walked into. Millions of them, living right next to us, and basically nobody eats them. And if you actually stop and think about it, that's strange. A chicken and an opossum are both just meat, both muscle, both fat, both protein, both edible. So why does one show up on every dinner table in the country and the other one basically never does? The answer isn't one single reason. It's biology, it's history, and it's something kind of gross all stacking on top of each other. And they all point in the exact same direction. Let's get into it. Now, here's the thing people get wrong. Humans did eat opossum for a long time. Back in the Great Depression, when families across the American South had almost nothing, opossum was survival food. People trapped them, fattened them up, and served them with sweet potatoes. There was even a nickname for it, possum and taters. Presidents ate it. Cookbooks had recipes for it. So this isn't a case where nobody ever touched the stuff. It's something stranger. We had it. We ate it, and then, quietly, we stopped. And once you understand why we stopped, you understand something bigger about how humans decide what's food and what's not. So let's start with the part nobody wants to talk about, what this animal actually eats. Here's the first problem, and it's a big one. Opossums are scavengers, and I mean serious scavengers. They eat roadkill, they eat garbage, they eat rotting fruit, dead animals, insects, ticks, whatever they can find. An opossum isn't picky. It's basically nature's cleanup crew. It'll eat the stuff other animals won't touch. And here's the rule your body already knows, even if you've never thought about it. You are what you eats. When an animal spends its whole life eating clean grass and grain, like a cow or a chicken, its meat stays clean, predictable, safe. But when an animal spends its whole life eating garbage and dead things, all of that ends up inside the meat, the flavor, the texture, and everything else that came along for the ride. Hunters who've actually eaten opossum describe it the same way almost every time. Greasy, gamey, and heavy. Not something you'd choose, something you'd eat if you had to. But taste isn't even the biggest problem. There's something else building up inside that meat, and it has nothing to do with flavor, and everything to do with disease. Here's where it gets serious. Because an opossum eats dead and rotting animals, it comes into contact with everything those animals were carrying. Every parasite, every bacteria, every pathogen. A scavenger isn't just eating flesh. It's eating whatever was already wrong with whatever it found. And opossums specifically are known carriers of some genuinely nasty stuff. They can carry salmonella. They can carry leptospirosis. And here's the big one. Opossums are one of the main animals linked to a parasite that causes a disease in horses so severe it can permanently damage their nervous system. Now think about that for a second. This is an animal whose droppings are dangerous enough to cripple a horse. That's the animal some people are putting on a dinner plate. And it gets worse. Opossum meat, like a lot of wild game, can carry the risk of trichinosis. That's a parasitic infection you get from undercooked meat. The kind of thing that put people in the hospital before anyone understood what caused it. So to eat this safely, you've got to cook it long, cook it hot, basically sterilize it. And even then, a lot of people just won't risk it. But here's the thing. Even if the meat were perfectly safe, there's another reason we walked away, and this one is pure biology. Let's talk about the animal itself. An opossum is small. A big one might hit 10, 12 pounds, and most of that isn't even meat. You've got bones, you've got fat, you've got organs. What you're actually left with to eat is tiny. Compare that to a cow. Hundreds of pounds of usable meat off one animal. Or a chicken. Small, sure, but they grow fast, they breed on schedule, and we've spent thousands of years breeding them to pack on meat quickly and cheaply. Nobody ever did that with an opossum. Ever. There's no opossum farm, no opossum industry, no generations of breeding to make them bigger or meatier or tastier. They're exactly as wild and scrawny today as they were 1,000 years ago. So even if you wanted to eat one, you'd be putting in a ton of work, trapping it, cleaning it, cooking it for hours, for a sad little bit of greasy meat at the end. The math just doesn't work. The effort is high, the payoff is low, and the risk is real. And when a safer, cheaper, easier option is sitting right there, a chicken, a burger, anything, why on earth would you choose the roadkill eater in your backyard? You wouldn't, and that's exactly the point. Now, the rule isn't completely absolute, because, like I said, people have eaten opossum, and they still do in some places. In parts of the rural South, opossum hunting is still a tradition. Some folks swear by it. There are still old family recipes floating around. And in a true survival situation with nothing else to eat, yeah, an opossum will keep you alive. But look closely at when people eat it. It's during hard times. It's out of tradition. It's the last resort, not the first choice. In almost every case, people turned to opossum when the easier, safer, cheaper option had already run out. That's not a counterexample. That's the rule proving itself. Opossum has always been survival food. Never the food you'd pick when you had a choice. And then, somewhere along the way, culture caught up with all of this and made it official. See, food isn't just about calories. It's about what feels right. And somewhere over the years, Americans quietly decided the opossum belonged in a different category. It became the ugly thing hissing in your trash can, the creature you find playing dead in the road, the animal that shows up in cartoons as the punchline. We stopped seeing it as food and started seeing it as a pest. And here's the thing about humans. We don't eat the animals we've decided are gross. Once something crosses that line in our heads, it doesn't matter how edible it is. It's off the menu for good. The opossum didn't get poisoned out of our diet. It got shamed out of it. We took an animal our grandparents survived on and turned it into a joke, a nuisance, a thing you call animal control about. You don't eat the animal you're trying to get out of your attic. So the real answer was never just one thing. It's biology stacking on top of disease, stacking on top of culture, all pointing in the exact same direction. Opossum meat is greasy and gamey. It carries real disease. There's barely any meat on the thing, and it's a nightmare to prepare. And on top of all of that, we spent the last century deciding it was disgusting. We didn't stop eating opossum because we couldn't. We could. We did for generations. We stopped because we finally had the choice not to. The moment cheap chicken and beef showed up on every shelf in America, the opossum lost the only job it ever had, keeping hungry people alive. And once it wasn't needed anymore, it became a pest. That little animal in your backyard isn't safe because we're protecting it. It's safe because we decided, a long time ago, that it just wasn't worth it. The possum was never really on the menu, and the moment we had anything better, we made sure it never would be again.